Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial. In today's video, we're going to be making this beautiful two-piece crop shirt and a Flair skirt. If this is what you're interested in, kindly keep on watching. If you're new to my channel, you're welcome. Please consider hitting the subscribe button. To my returning subscribers, thank you guys so much for sticking with us. Without wasting much time, let's get right into the video. First, we'll be cutting the skirt. So here I folded my fabric into two in this triangular shape. So now I'm going to place my tape to get the waist measurement plus seam allowance. So at that point, I'm just going to mark it there, and then I'm going to turn my tape this way from the tip of that triangular fold. Whatever mark that I have there, I'm going to mark it all the way across, just like I'm doing here. And so this line is going to be the waistline. I'm just going to measure it to be sure that it's up to the waist measurement plus seam allowance. So I'm just going to cut this place out. So from here I'm going to subtract 1.5, that's for the band, and I'm going to measure the length of the skirt plus 1 inch for seam allowance. So that's just what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to place my tape this way, mark the length and 1 inch for seam allowance, and I'll mark it all the way around, just like so. From the waistline, from the waist, you can take it all the way straight to meet the hemline, but for me I usually like to reduce that ending part. So I'm just going to place my ruler this way to reduce the down part so it won't be too flay or too pointy at that side. So I'm just going to cut this out. From the waistline, I'm going to come down by 2 inches, and then I will notch. That is where we're going to be putting the pockets. And on this part, I'm just going to reduce it by 0.75 and blend it in just like so. To cut the back, I've also gone ahead to place my fabric on fold. I'm just going to place the front on it just like so, leaving about 1.5 for zipper allowance, and basically cut the same thing just like the front. Then I'm going to cut open this part where we're going to be fixing the zipper, and I will notch this end, and that is basically it for the cutting of the skirt. And I'm also going to notch the pocket part. So this is the back and this is the front. Moving on to cut the top. So I've gone ahead to place my fabric on fold. I'll be cutting the front and the back together. So the one on top is the back and the one below is the front. So now this space here is for the button allowance. I'm just going to rule a straight line so that we can see where the center back is. Next is to draw the shoulder line. We will be taking our measurement starting from the center back. So I'm just going to mark half of the shoulder measurement plus ½ inch, and I'll come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope. And for the neck width, I'm using 3 inches wide, and for the back I'm going down by 1 inch, and for the front I'll go down by 3 inches. Remember, this is the front and this is the back. So I'm just going to connect the neck for the back, and we'll be leaving the front for now, and I'll connect the shoulder slope. So from this point I'm going to mark the armhole depth, and I'll also mark the wideness of the shoulder just to get a straight line, and I will connect all of them like so, and then mark the armhole. So this is a shirt, you don't want the armhole to be too curvy. So coming over to this part, I'm going to measure the length of this top because this is crop top, so I'm making it 17 inches, and I added 2 inches for hemming allowance, and I also mark the same thing to meet the front, and I will connect them with a straight line just like so. So you can make your crop top how long you want it to be. Okay, it totally depends on you. And on this point I'm going to mark quarter of the bust circumference. I'll be adding 0.75 for ease, and then 1.5 for seam allowance, and I will take it all the way to the waistline, just like so. You can decide to reduce the waist, that like I do in some of my crop top, but for this person I decided to mark the same thing on the bust all the way to the waistline. So now I've gone ahead to cut all this out, and I marked the neck width, so I'm going to connect this part to meet here for the front neckline, and I will cut it out. Okay, so remember I said the one below is the front, so I'm going to mark the button allowance of 2.5 inches. That's what I marked here, and I'm going to trim off the excess that I have. I'm going to notch here, and I'll also notch the lower part. So for the sleeve, it's going to be a short sleeve, so I'm just going to mark the sleeve length, and I'll be adding 1.5 for seam allowance, and I'm also going to mark the same thing here. So to get the standard way to cut your sleeve, I have a very detailed tutorial on this channel. I'll be linking it in the description, so you can go ahead and go and watch it to have the proper knowledge of how to cut your sleeve. I'm just using a freehand here, so here I'm just covering out the armhole, and I'll connect it to the round sleeve. That it is for the sleeve. So I cut out 2 for the 2 sleeves. So moving on to the sewing. So we'll be starting with the skirt. So here I'm just placing the back right side facing each other, and from the waistline I'm going to mark where the zipper is going to stop, and then I'll stitch all the way down. So this is what I have when I'm done. I'm also gonna head to press it open. So now I'm going to grab the front, placing it on the back like so, right side facing each other, and I will go and stitch from the waistline. I will stitch and stop where that notch is, where I made that notch, and I'm going to leave an opening of 6.5. This is where we'll be fixing the pocket, and then I'll finish up the seam. This is going to be the pocket opening, and I'll repeat the same for the other side. So here I've gone ahead to do that, and this is what I have. So this is where we'll be fixing our pocket, and I've also gone ahead to cut my pocket piece. This is what it looks like. So I'm just going to grab one of the seam, matching it with the skirt, just going to place it this way, and we'll stitch on one seam, flip the other side, and also stitch. I'll do the same for this other one. So this is what I have. I've also gone ahead to sew and iron. So next is to fix the waistband. So here I've gone ahead to cut my waistband. It's just a long strip folded into 2, just like so, and I also added interfacing. So I folded this part 1/2 inch inwards, just like so, and the whole thing measures 2.5 inches. So now I'm going to grab the skirt. We're going to be sewing from inside out. So the part that is not folded, I'm going to match it with the waistline of the skirt like so. I'm going to go and sew all around the skirt with 1/2 inch. So this is what I have when I'm done, and I'm just going to trim down the excesses I have, just like so, and then I'm going to fold this part like so. Just going to fold it like so, and I'll go and stitch with 1/2 inch, and then fold it back this way, and I'll close this part up. So here I've gone ahead to do that. I've also gone ahead to fix my zipper, and next thing is to hem the lower part of the skirt. So now moving on to the shirt, I'm just going to grab the 2 fronts, and I'll go and fold this in like so for the button allowance. So you're going to fold it such that that part that we notch will be in the middle. That's what I've done here. Yeah, and I'm going to go and run a stitch to hold it down. So this is what I have when I'm done. I'm just going to grab the back, and I will place the 2 fronts on it like so, right side facing each other, and I'll also grab this other one. I'll go and stitch on the shoulder line with 1/2 inch. So here I've done that, and the next is to fix the sleeve. I'm just going to open it up this way, and I'll go and fix my sleeve with 1/2 inch seam allowance. So this is what I have when I'm done. So the next thing now I'm going to do, I'll arrange the shirt very well, and I'll go and close up the side with our seam allowance. So here I've done that, and I'm just going to hem this lower part and then work on our collar. So you can either measure it round this way, or you can fold your neckline into 2, just like so. So I'm just going to fold mine into 2, and I will notch the mid part, that's the center back, and we'll measure round the neckline. Please make sure to measure it multiple times. This will help you to get the accurate number. So here, whatever I have, I'm going to go and use it to go and cut the collar. I'll be cutting the collar on this pepper stay. So this pepper stay is on fold. Remember, we measured our neckline on fold. So just place this pepper stay on fold, and I rule the starting line. So for the collar stand, I'm using 1 inch for the collar stand, and I'm going to measure the wideness. That's what we got from measuring the round neck, and I got about 8.75. that's what I marked there. And for the collar width, I marked 1 inch. So I'm just going to connect the lines like so, and connect this part. So for the main collar itself, I'm going to measure 2.5 inches. Yes, I'm going to mark 2.5 here, and I'll also come over to this place and mark 2.5 inches. From this point, I'll go inwards by 1 inch, and I'll take it up like so, then connect this point. That's for the main collar, and I'll also connect this part as well. So from this point here, I'll come out by 0.75 like so, and I'll connect this point to meet here, and this one to meet this part. So now you can decide to leave your collar stand square like this, but I'm going to curve this place just like so. So on this part, I came up by 0.25, and I'll blend it to meet the starting line, and that is it for this collar. And I'm just going to cut this out. So I'm going to use this pepper stay to go and cut on the main fabric. So this is what I have. I added 1/2 inch all around the pepper stay, and I'm also gonna ahead to cut 2. So for this other side, I folded 1/2 inch in just like this. So I'm going to match the 2 of them like so. I folded one end of that one inside. So now what I'm going to do, I'll place them right side facing each other, and I'm going to go and sew with the 1/2 inch seam allowance all around. So here I've done that, and I'm just going to trim down the excess. I will notch all these ends. Make sure to notch, and I will turn it to the right side, and I will go and iron this very well. Make sure to push out all these pointy parts and iron. So this is what I have when I'm done. So I'm just going to fold it this way and notch the center. So we're going to be stitching from inside out. So I'm matching the center back with the center of the collar just like so, and I'm going to pin it all the way around the neckline, and I will go and stitch with 1/2 inch. So this is what I have when I'm done. So now I'm just going to trim down the neckline and notch. So the part that will fold there, you're just going to cover it up this way, so you won't need to be folding while you're sewing. So I'm just going to make sure to notch all this neckline properly, and then I'm going to go and finish off the collar. That's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.